Sridhar Vembu is one of Indian tech's most unconventional and provocative figures. You've seen him in the headlines a lot recently. He's a co-founder and now chief scientist of Zoho, a company he built outside the Silicon Valley mold, rooted instead in rural Tamil Nadu. His new messaging app out of Zoho called Arattai has quickly become a flashpoint. You've seen it making waves, getting shout-outs from the government and going viral in all the right ways. It's been hailed as a homegrown spyware-free alternative to WhatsApp, but also questioned over privacy, encryption and government access. Mr. Vembu, it's really good to see you this morning. Thank you so much for being with us today here on NDTV. Good to see you, sir.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Vanakkam. Namaste. Thank you.
And my senior colleague, Uma Sudhir, is also with me. Good morning, Uma. Really nice to have Mr. Vembu with us this morning.
Good morning.
Absolutely. Sridhar Vembu, of course, has many kinds of introductions that you can give for him. Someone who is, when we have visited Tenkasi and spoken to Sridhar Vembu there as well and seen the kind of model that he uses in order to tap the demographic dividend that we always talk about. Someone who has not taken a rupee of venture capital and yet managed to build $1 billion kind of a company that is globally competitive and is competing on innovation with the best. So, Mr. Sridhar, Arattai Arambikilama. For those people who don't know Tamil, Arattai Arambikilama is Gapshap Shuru Kare Kya, Gappe Shuru Kare Kya. Or let's begin the chit chat.
Very nice, Uma. Thanks for putting that into context, Mr. Vembu. Let's kick it off with the core idea behind creating Arattai. First of all, congratulations on the initial success that the app has gotten. My question to you, sir, was it a response to data colonialism by global tech giants or a bid to give India its own secure communication ecosystem? What was the thought process behind Arattai?
Yeah, first of all, we have only made a very good beginning. We still have a long way to go. I want to be very clear on that. It's still a long way to go. And we have made a very good beginning. So we are grateful for that. And we need this type of technology, not just Arattai, not just the messaging, but all of the core technology that we have now come to depend on for day-to-day living, our work, all of it, manufacturing, all of it. Today, and the reason for that is all of this technology, when we depend on some other nations outside of our borders for all this, they do get weaponized in an adverse scenario against us. And that's unfortunate reality of today's complex geopolitics. And that's why it is important that we master these technologies, create a very strong domestic ecosystem. And this is where I say there is self-reliance, which is that we get to trade on equal terms, and self-sufficiency where we do everything. We cannot do everything, but we still need to be able to trade on equal terms, for which we need to master the complex technologies on our own.
Sridhar, Arattai has made this kind of sudden leap. I mean, 21 is when you started it off. People are now, many of my friends say Arattai, that's the name we love. Those who know at least Tamil are loving the name. But you meant it not just for in India, you mean it to be a world product. Tell us, how is it going to be technically and philosophically different from, say, a WhatsApp, a Signal or a Telegram beyond being a Made-in-India product?
Yeah. So, first, from a WhatsApp perspective, we are not an advertising company, and we are very much a software company. We specialize in business-to-business software, where the businesses particularly care for their trade secrets, their important inside info from any kind of exposure, any kind of export to other parties. That's our real advantage in business. We are bringing that exact same philosophy to our design of Arattai. That's the first one. And second, it is also, the Arattai app can be so much more. Once the foundation of trust is established, can be a foundation for commerce, payments, a lot of full ecosystem can be built on it. But to build that ecosystem with confidence, you need that foundation of trust. Is my data safe? how is it used, and who has access to it. All of these questions have to be answered. In fact, we are within a week or 10 days, we are coming out with a full security white paper on this. And we also have the end-to-end encryption being rolled out. In fact, it's in the process of being rolled out in the next 1 or 2 weeks. It'll be in the customer's hands. We are testing it right now. So all of this we'll explain in the white paper. Along with it, the commercial strategy. How will Arattai stand up and long-term compete? And we do not intend to monetize ever using advertising or third-party access to that data. So that's the critical point here.
Mr. Vembu, you've said users should trust Zoho on privacy, and I've seen on social media a lot of people attacking you for that, saying this is trust me bro based technology. But you've clarified that very, very specifically, both on social media as well as here on NDTV. You've just said end-to-end encryption, encryption is in the works. It should be rolled out in a few weeks for now. Because the question is, Mr. Vembu, in an age of digital skepticism, people are wondering, why users should trust you without verifiable encryption from day one. Is there a reason why that didn't happen, sir?
It actually was in the works. We didn't. The app it was in the testing phase, and it went viral before we rolled it out. That's really what happened. There wasn't, it was always due for a November, mid to late November launch. We were preparing for it, and then we were testing it, all of that, and then it suddenly, it happens, right? Sometimes the unexpected happens. We are thankful that it happened. It's not like we are complaining about it. We had to, in fact, that's why we had to scramble to put in place the infrastructure. We were actually preparing a big data center in Mumbai. All of the servers are getting installed, all of it for a mid to late November launch. And then when the infrastructure was not quite ready, all this happened. So we had to scramble. We managed it. Now the whole features are getting rolled out. So, and of course, there's always people who will see a conspiracy in everything. But that's the funny part is that it took off without us actually being prepared quite yet. So now we are preparing ourselves well. And the other part, that whole trust us, bro, I have to break this to you. You are actually, when you're making a phone call, you are trusting your Android operating system, you are trusting your phone. When you are, every single action, I'm in front of a Mac computer, I'm trusting Apple, right? You are trusting software today. That's a fact, okay? Every single piece of the interaction, day to day, in every aspect of your life, you are trusting software. The only remaining question is that who are you trusting, and do you have a legal recourse to who you trust? For example, we are very much in India, and our code is written in India. Indian regulators, Indian ecosystem have the right to audit all of that, and that's there's legal protections. You can call me to court on this, if you break the trust. So all of these protections are there. And that is so there is a whole legal system, constitutional system, that's a safeguard in all this. But the fact remains, when you go to a doctor, you're trusting the doctor. When you take a medicine, you're trusting the pharmaceutical company. There has to be the whole foundation of commerce. Our entire capitalist system is dependent on trust. If you don't trust anyone, you cannot transact business with anyone. That's a fact.
Yeah.
So, the people think trust us, bro, is some kind of gotcha. I'll remind them the next time they make a phone call, they're trusting someone.
Yeah.
So.
Sridhar, you have spoken about giving privacy to secret lovers, but not to secret rebels. Tell us, what is the framework that will, kind of define the legal and ethical distinctions that you're making in this particular context? And, something like this is, you're talking about you keeping the data within the country, and that is going to be increasingly critical for people in the coming years and time, isn't it?
Yes. Regulations around the world, not just in India, now mandate that data be kept within the borders. This is the data sovereignty for a variety of reasons: regulatory, legal, and also who gets to train the AI on it, and all of those things. For a variety of reasons, now data is the new oil, and we want to jealously guard our data within the nation's boundaries. This is a regulation in every country, we are seeing, which is why we have now 19 data centers around the world, and that number is expanding rapidly. We are doing business in every jurisdiction by putting the data meant for their citizens in their own borders. That's what we are doing. Now, the question you asked about the privacy stance, really it comes down to this. What can a private company guarantee you reasonably? And that is the question. It is not about what I want to do. It is what can a private company in a jurisdiction can reasonably do. It would take maybe 10 minutes if a government of the day does not like me to arrest me, right? And you are going to, in other words, what I'm saying is there are particular legal institutional mechanisms that go beyond any particular private company. For a private company to come and tell you, we will forever guarantee that this government or no government can ever, ever look into your data, whatever, is impossible. Is anybody saying it? They're actually lying to you. I'll give you an example. This is something that most people, technical people, other than technical people, realize this. When a chip is made, a government that controls a fab can insert a backdoor on the chip. In fact, it's a safe assumption that if a chip is made in a particular country, there may be backdoors inserted by that country on those chips. It might be a safe assumption to make. And the amount of silicon it requires is very tiny. And there's no real way to audit it. Similarly, when a software compiler is written, there could be a variety of ways. There is entire Turing Award speeches on the topic of security. In other words, the ultimate security is not just any piece of software. No matter who writes it, what genius writes it. The ultimate security is also institutional, legal, all the mechanisms, all of the law and the codes, all of that too. That's the point I'm making. And this, I've been saying it. By the way, the first time I made this point was in 2013 in America. It's not even in the Indian context. American customers asked us. I said, Zoho is not here to guarantee you that American government cannot do anything to you. No private company can do it. Just because we are in India, don't expect that we can somehow save you from your own government. That's what I call American customers.
Good. No, that's a great point. And, Mr. Vembu, the truth of the matter, as we all know, is that all these big tech giants have made their hundreds of billions on user data, sir. Yes. On the data that they've been able to milk from all exactly. Users across the world. So the question to you would be that, is it a viable model to say that we are not looking to mine user data? Is that even possible, sir?
Yeah, it is possible. And the reason I'll explain to you, the software part of it, it is not that costly anymore to do all this.
Yeah.
To write a messenger, all of that. It requires brain power, but it is not. That's why I always say R&D is not expensive, but time intensive. It requires brainy people committed for a long time to do it, but this is not by itself. Unlike a fab, to build a semiconductor fab could be billions, tens of billions of dollar problem. To build a kind of messenger software is not multiple billions of dollar problem. Okay, that's the first point. And the second point is that there are many mechanisms to actually pay for this that does not involve violating users' privacy, confidentiality, any of those things, or mining the user data, as you put it. So that it doesn't have to be done. And of course, the profit potential would be lower, and that's okay. It still would be a profitable business. It just wouldn't make 50 billion, 100 billion in profit. I think that's perfectly fine. That's what I say.
Sridhar, in the last few weeks, should I say, we have seen top government officials and, of course, the Mr. Amit Shah, Ashwini Vaishnav, others embrace Zoho products, whether it's Zoho Mail or other products of Zoho. How do you react to this kind of comment saying that you're very close, the proximity to the government, and that there is protection from the government? Is it something that is actually necessary for kind of helping a homegrown or home developed product to grow? How do you look at this kind of criticism? Is that critical also, that the governments back Atmanirbhar product?
Yeah. So there is, what we are experiencing in our country is much broader than one company. So it's really a Swadeshi moment in our technology journey. We are realizing collectively, it is not only government, our educated citizens, everybody. It's from our private sector, everyone is realizing that it is a Swadeshi moment. We need to control our own destiny as a nation, and that means technology self-reliance, technology sovereignty. That's important. I think there is a broad consensus among all of the educated opinion. It's independent of politics. Okay, I don't want to involve politics in this. This is actually across the spectrum. People do agree on this broadly. That's why we got all of that abundant love from everyone. It is a Swadeshi awakening. That's the moment. And I have been involved in this for the last 5-6 years in Swadeshi Jagran Manch specifically. It has nothing to do with government. The current government is not the thing here. I've been involved in Swadeshi because that Swadeshi awakening, that we have to create all of this technology and we have to create the talent pool, the capabilities, all of that here. This is something I've said this numerous times before. And I'm very happy to see that recognition coming at this particular moment. But the movement has been building up for a while. So that's something that is important to realize.
Mr. Yeah.
As far as the criticism about all of this, it is always, there is going to be anything good you do, there will be some critical opinion. Because there is always it is somewhat sophisticated to be a skeptic. But that's always happens. But I don't ever let that worry me. Because anything good you do, you have to go face the criticism, and we are happy to face it. So.
When you, Mr. Vembu, when you saw the Home Minister Amit Shah's social media post, announcing that his office was moving to Zoho Mail and that the system was moving to Zoho, we saw a lot of other ministers as well. What was the first thought? Were you concerned that this was going to invite all the the brickbats, as you saw? People were calling you a Sanghi. People were saying, you have ingratiated yourself to the government. You've praised them. That's why they're giving you a shout out and taking your software. Ignoring the fact that you've built this incredible company from scratch and you've earned the place that you're in right now.
Yeah. First of all, I'm very grateful for all of the love and support we have received. I'm truly grateful. And I'll also tell you, 90% of our revenue is coming from the global markets. 90%.
Yeah.
And the percentage of revenue coming from the government, particularly the Indian government, is actually very low. It's maybe 2-3%. I don't even know if it's 2-3%. It's quite low. So that is the fact. And we have built a business that is global in scale and scope. And every single month, we are actually increasing our global market share. In very many markets where my particular political image or affiliation in India absolutely does not matter, right? Why are customers in UAE, in Mexico, in Colombia, in Brazil, in Canada, in Australia, why are they buying our software? Is that because of my political affiliation? So this is the kind of thing people say, but they don't know the reality. And we have built this company for 30 years. And until about 10 years ago, our share of revenue in India was actually minuscule. We were hardly even known in India. We had built a company that is maybe over $500 million in global sales, but we were not known in India, and we had not actually marketed it very well yet. That was the reason. We are not a very marketing-oriented company.
Linked to that question, Mr. Sridhar, I must ask you this as well.
Yeah. So that was the image. So
that, you and the Prime Minister share many things that you are talking about. Swadeshi, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and many in India would say you exemplify what we would like to see in our politicians as well. That kind of a very simple living, and talking about profits going or plowing the profits back into the country and the economy and the development of the country, and someone who believes technology can be a change maker. So why wouldn't Sridhar Vembu want to take up a leadership position in the government or move to that side of the governing India, so that we can see more of that vision play out in the larger space as well, larger country as well?
Yeah, let me answer this straight. Actually, there is a lot of work I still have to do. We still have to do as a company in the technology business. And we are a tiny company in the global landscape. We have a long way ahead, and I have to stay focused on this job, the chief scientist role I have. There's a lot of work to do. In fact, 70% of my time is in code right now. And there's very many smart people in our nation who are serving in the government, who are willing to serve in the government, and everybody should not be pulled into this. We need people working in technology. Also, we need people who are willing to work in rural areas. So I'll make it very clear. I want to live in Tenkasi. I want to live in Tanjavur. I want to promote. In fact, if I move north, I'd be to UP's Balia district and not to Delhi. Okay, I'll be very clear. Because I want to build up technology foundations in each of these places. I love doing this. This is my calling. This is my passion in life. So this is what I enjoy doing. Build up technology particularly from rural heartland. And also you mentioned about profit. This industry globally, if you look at the profit of each of the mega tech, it's hundreds of billions of dollars. Each company makes about 120, 140 billion a year in profit. And that is, as you put it, harvested from user data. We need, as a country, today, the work that is being done, we need to capture our fair share of the value addition. All our projects, all of this from healthcare to sanitation to all of this need resources. This is going to come from this value creation. And so and it's our brains doing it globally. It's not just in India, right? Our brains are doing it.
Yeah.
Why shouldn't the common Indian citizen have a stake in this? That's why I'm doing it. And that we need to do this not only in the big cities, not only in Chennai or Bangalore and Noida. It has to be done in Tenkasi, it has to be done in Balia and all of these places. That is my mission, and that's why I'm working. I don't actually, in fact, I'll make it very clear. I would not want to be in politics. I would not want to be in government. I have to do my job even better, even harder.
But we don't know whether the powers that be will, want to draw from the Sridhar Vembu well and his experience in actually doing something at a national level. Of course, we'll cross that bridge once we get to it, and we'll have you back here on NDTV. But towards the last couple of questions on this interview, Mr. Vembu, an entire new generation of young Indians entering the job market, who are not sort of contaminated by the earlier generations and our thought processes, will be wondering why India hasn't produced a Google or a Meta. And when they listen to someone like you, they'll say, it's totally possible. We're looking at Sridhar Vembu, the incredible things that he has achieved, without much support, completely from scratch, and reached the place where he is. How would you answer that question, sir? Why hasn't India produced a Google or a Meta yet?
Fundamentally because we did not believe. We would not believe in ourselves. That's really the basis of it. And it comes in very subtle ways. We actually always thought in the early days, I remember 20, 25 years ago, hey, we don't have the domain expertise to build these products. Every single product we have built, we actually mastered the domain as we built the product. That includes Arattai. We did not know how to build it before we started building it. Then we learned to build it as we built it. That's an important one. The second is we have not really, this is something that I offer as also an observation of our own educated elite. We have to embrace where the roots of our talent is coming from. That is a lot of our rural districts. Only when we do that, we truly understand the talent potential in India, can we aspire to build. Because very often we superficially conclude there is not enough talent to build all of this. The way the Silicon Valley has access to talent, we don't have that talent. We come to implicitly believe those things, whether consciously or subconsciously. The worst one is the subconscious bias we have. If we shed that, can we truly build it?
Sridhar, what also distinguishes your company perhaps as compared to a Google or a Meta is that there is no layoff, and your company actually redesigns the work for people or allows them to redesign their own talents and skills in order to be able to work in other areas if they are not happy doing one thing, if they are not good at doing one thing. But what I want to ask you is, after Arattai, what is the other big things that you are looking at? I know that, the last time when we spoke, you spoke about going to rural places in the other parts of the country as well, not just in Tenkasi or not just in Karnataka or in Andhra Pradesh, but up north as well. What are those plans looking like? And I also want to ask you this. Arattai is not meant only obviously for an Indian audience. How far do you think the uptake will be in the rest of the world for an Arattai? How are the figures looking as of now?
So, last question first. That's very early days. Okay, we still have a long way to go. We just have made a promising beginning. I never like to overhype anything. Okay, we should not overhype anything, including Arattai, Zoho, or whatever. We still have a long way to go. I still have a lot of work to do. I have to get back to code and nose to the grindstone, as they say. So it's important. Now the question about our, what was the first one that you asked? First question you asked?
About the villages.
Yes.
I spoke to you about what is going to be beyond Arattai.
Yeah. So we really have a broader portfolio of products we are planning around all this. So of course, obvious things like payment integration, a lot of that is coming. And as an expandable platform plugin. We also announced our intent to open up the protocols so that the messaging system itself, just like email, can have multiple clients that participate in it. It's not the interoperability across systems. That's actually very near and dear to us because these things have to be open. Okay, open systems.
Yeah.
UPI is a great example of an open system, and India can take a leadership role in this, creating these open platforms. How UPI has been, and now I'm very proud of our nation for sharing the UPI technology to other nations. That is the right way. That is our way. That is the Bharatiya way of sharing the technology. Because I'm also mindful. You asked about the global thing. We should be, as a nation, should be willing to share technology, not merely just sell to them. Be willing to share. That's important. To me, that is part of my whole mission of dharmic capitalism. And it's absent from the big tech world today. The entire thing is extractive. Okay. And the way I ask is, how do you sell to someone who doesn't have anything? How do you sell to someone who doesn't have anything to sell back to you? And you can only indent the person. So to me, part of dharma is try not to sell to someone who doesn't have money. Okay. And then you will have to give it away, right? That's the idea. And that has to be inbuilt in our system. That's the only way to build a sustainable capitalist model in society. Okay. I'm very mindful of it. I don't look at our rural areas as places I can sell my software to, but as very much where I can create jobs, create income, all of that. That's the mission with which we go first. We don't go there, let's sell something here. We go there with what can we employ. In fact, in many countries, most countries in the world now, particularly in the poorer countries, we actually collect payment in their own currency. We are only one of the very few global companies that do this because we want to make it easy for them. And also we want to help those countries avoid getting into a exchange problem, balance of payments, because we collected in dollars. We can insist payment in dollars as global companies do, but we don't. We actually collect in their local currency. We figure out what to do. Sometimes, buy something from there and export via Dubai or something we have to do because there's no way to convert to dollar in some countries. So we actually accept all of this because that's the right way to do business globally. So we are coming up with a new template for what a global corporation should be, what a uniquely Indian global corporation should be. And that's our part of our mission too. So there's a lot of work ahead. There's a lot of things we have to accomplish, and I'll be busy for next 25 years. Hope to be.
We wish you incredibly the best.
Thank you so much for that that template, which is philosophically and ethically setting a very new standard for doing business across the world, I think.
And it's and this is business with honor and principle. There's so much to think about that you've given us, Mr. Vembu. So we wish you the very best. A full stack Indian digital ecosystem that is truly global is something that, even recently one couldn't dream about. But your words have made us think that this is something that isn't so far out of reach. So we wish you the very best in your honorable journey. And look forward to the many more spotlights on you, because now with all this, all this attention, there will be questions, and you've bravely taken them on as well. So looking forward to having you here on NDTV again. On behalf of NDTV, thank you very much for joining us. The news continues.
Namaskar.
And Arattai romba jora irundhathu. Thank you so much, Mr. Vembu.
Nandri.